We see my screen.
Your screen?
Perfect. Okay. Just like for the previous one, this is going to be extremely basic. It's really an introduction to what a universe is and the first few steps to build a brand new universe. I could spend probably an entire week teaching you all the refinements of a universe, and even a true basic course would take probably a day. But to give you a little flavor, so we'll have an introduction. I will show you the basics of, it looks like my screen dropped.
If you could share your screen again, JF, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, do you see it again?
Yep, thank you, JF.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so we'll go through an introduction. I will give you an overview of the universe architecture, and then we'll create one very simple universe to play with. And I will show you how to make that available to the user community. So again, a few keywords here. What is a universe? Well, it's a semantic layer that simplifies access for reporting and analysis. And as I mentioned earlier, this is really what made business objects what it still is today. That concept has not changed for 30 years. It's really a solid foundation. It has been improved tremendously, but the very concept has not changed. And it's a semantic layer, so a business objects universe contains nothing. It's metadata that is used to generate access to an underlying database. So it translates database structures in easy to understand business terms. You've seen that in the Webby demonstration. We didn't know anything about the underlying database. We just used the little bricks. Okay, so enables, as you've seen, users to create reports without any knowledge of the SQL, ensures consistent data interpretation. I will insist on that when we start building that, but the idea here is that when I grab an object that is, say, sales revenue, well, there may be a complex formula behind that that defines exactly what is recognized as sales revenue. Well, with that, we know that when two people show up in a meeting room to discuss strategy, they will all have the same definition of the sales revenue, and they will be comparing apples to apples, and no disconnect can happen. That is extremely important in the concept of a universe. And additionally, you can control security at universe level. You can decide who can see what objects, and even if they can see an object, there's a way of filtering the results depending on who the person is. Again, we talk about sales. Certain companies don't want salespeople to see other salespeople's results. Well, that can be implemented here. And as I mentioned earlier, just now, the universes are considered as the single version of truth. In other words, if you build your queries on universes, as long as you ask a question that makes sense, your results will make sense and will be, what's the word I'm looking for? Will be truthful, will be believable.
Yep.
So the universe architecture, and we're talking about the modern architecture, so UNXs. You have at the base a connection. That connection can be an OLAP connection, just like a BW or any kind of OLAP connection, but more commonly, it is going to be a relational connection. Why do I show here two relational connections? Well, pertaining to the previous discussion, up to 4.3, you can have multi-source universes with multiple connections, but keep in mind that will be deprecated with BI 2025. So it's just for information that I mentioned here. On that connection, you will build a data foundation. The data foundation is the actual technical representation of the underlying database, or at least the portion of the underlying database that we will use in the universe. One or more tables with their joins, any aliases that you need to define, and so on and so forth. And then on top of that one data foundation, you can build one or more business layers. And the business layer is really what the user sees. It is in the business layer that you have those objects that we've been using in Web Intelligence. Those objects are organized in folders. There's more things. There are parameters, list of values. You've seen me use a list of values and more. But again, it goes way beyond the basic presentation here. Okay, so after that, we are going to create a data foundation, then a business layer on top of that. And then we will test our universe with queries. Very useful tool. And finally, I will show you how to publish the universe. In other words, how to make it available to end users to build their own Web Intelligence documents. What's important too is that if you modify something in a universe, for example, you have built an object that needs to be amended. Let's say either there was an error or the definition of sales revenue, to stick with my example, has changed. I can come in the universe, modify that formula, republish the universe, and all the documents that use that definition, that use that sales revenue object, will reflect the new logic behind it. Very, very important in this context. Okay, so let's go to, no, one back here, to our designer. It's the information design tool, the IDT as it is called, as you can see here. And the IDT is the tool that will allow you to build universes. So I have taken a little head start here in the sense that I have created a connection that I will leverage for my examples. So just to be consistent, I took the 360 eyes connection, and what I will simply right-click it and say, I want a new data foundation. I will call it, let's call it BOUG demo, business objects user group demo. I'll click next. And here is the infamous question. Do we want a single source or multi-source universe? Well, you know the answer to that one already. Multi-source is the past. So I will click on finish with single source. And here is my data foundation. It is glaringly empty. But what's important, if I expand my connection here, I see a certain set of tables that are available through that connection. And let's say I will grab I document, for example. Okay, so I simply drag and drop a table here, and it's then available for me to build on. I will also bring in another table that is iSnapshot. You can do multiple selections. If you have to use 10 tables, you can select them all at once, or you can do like I did here and copy them one by one. You will also describe here the joins that are necessary to make any queries you build on that work. In this case, I am looking for the snapshot ID. Let me minimize this because I'm running out of space. Document snapshot ID is joined to the snapshot ID. Here as well, I will describe whether or not, whether it's a one-to-one or one-to-many relationship. So each document matches one or more snapshot. Nope, that's not correct. I want it the other way around. There we go. Okay. So one snapshot can have multiple documents. And if I need an outer join or any of those artifacts, I can do that here. So this is the very basic definition of a data foundation. Now, with this data foundation in place, now I will start constructing objects on top of it. And objects exist in a business layer. So what I'm going to do here is select my data foundation, right-click, and say New Business Layer. The business layer will have a name of its own. In this case, I will keep the same name, but if you have multiple data layers, obviously, you will want to use different options, okay? And here, I have an empty data foundation. Now, one thing you can do easily is add an entire table to a business layer, okay? But in this case, I will show you how to create objects manually. So as a matter of fact, why? Oh, I know why, because I didn't save it. Okay, save it. There we go. So here I have a view of my data foundation. A business layer is built on top of a data foundation. So as I said, one thing I can do is bring in an entire table and the IDT will create for each column of that table one object in a folder that has the name of the table. A very fast shortcut. As a matter of fact, in many cases, it's a little bit overkill because there's typically a lot of columns that you would not typically use in a query. So you can do everything manually as well. Call this document. I can create folders as I see fit, and I can select one or more columns, document type, that will do, and then drag them into a folder, and I just created those 3 objects. Pretty straightforward. So now I have created a business layer. In a business layer, I am not limited to a simple column of an object. Oh, I'm sorry, of a table. I could concatenate the two different objects, so 2 different columns. If I simply duplicate this one, I can come here. I actually have a very nice SQL assistant, okay? And this is SQL Server. So I think that should work. And that snapshot, that's not what I want. I document and document CUID, for example. Okay, I can validate it. Oops, that is not what I should have been using. It validates my SQL for me. So I will abandon this one for now. It could also be a measure and this one will be valid, and that will be an object that lets me count the documents that I have here, and it's going to be reflected by a different icon here. Okay. So very powerful. You put here actual fragments of SQL. In the data foundation, you have the tables and any joins between them. So let's see what that will do when we start building queries. And there's a very convenient tool here for developers that is called queries. That will be very similar to what we have done in Web Intelligence. So I click on create a new query, and I have a query panel that is quite similar to what we had in the Web Intelligence interface. And just like that, I can insert a snapshot name. I can insert a document name and the author and the type of the document, and I can put a filter. Yeah, and I will pick a value from the list of values. And if memory serves, this one should be pretty good. Okay. Actually, I don't know if that's a document one. Let's see. I'd like to have some results though. Okay, up. Here's my query generated, and then I can execute the query here. And yeah, that's what I feared. I don't have any good results, but you get the point. So another tool that's very useful for developers is that I can take a peek inside the table, which will help me locate the one I should have used. It was 100. So 100 is what I should have used here. I'll edit my query, take 100. I really want to show you some results. There we go. Okay, okay, execute. And now I have some results here. I have the data that I have requested. It's a preview. It's limited to 200 rows. But then as soon as I publish this, this will be available in Business Objects for people to build their Web Intelligence queries on. Okay. So how do you publish a universe? Well, from the user perspective, a universe is a business layer. So what I will do is right-click a business layer and say publish to a repository, that is your business objects environment. I'm already logged in as somebody who has the permission to do that. And then it will ask me in what folder I want to publish. The minute I do that, I'm not going to do it here, but the universe will be available. And we're back to the previous presentation. We create a new Webby and we use this universe to generate that. One more thing I want to show you real quick is when I do view script, just for fun, this is what was generated behind the scenes. So I have the select portion, those are my objects. I have the from, those are the tables that I use, including the joins that were generated and the where clause that was there. So Business Objects takes care of generating all that SQL. You have your end user has absolutely no knowledge of that. Okay. Bruno, anything to add?
No, that was really good. I appreciate all the work you've put in, JF. Really appreciate it very much. So unless you've got, I don't see any questions right now in the chat. So I think we'll be closing shortly. So JF, anyway, thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much also for arranging all this event. It's the same for Ben, and everyone, please be cool, stay cool, and we're looking forward to talking with you. Please visit our website, wiiisdom.com, wiiisdom.com. So Wiiisdom with 3 I's. Thank you very much and have a great day. Appreciate. Bye-bye all.
Thank you to the Wiiisdom, CBeyond Data, Protiviti, and SAP team for your insights today. I'd like to thank all of our participants for joining. We hope this information was helpful to you and your organization. Our contact information is displayed on screen, so please do not hesitate to reach out to us. Thank you to everyone. Have a great day. This concludes today's user group.